Pep, nice top. A lot of people...
Oh. Nervous. Go.
A lot of people have spoken about the Premier League being the new Super League almost, and the money that's there has created the best teams in Europe. One team's already gone out. Liverpool are struggling. Do you feel an extra kind of pressure because almost Europe looks at England and the Premier League as the kind of standard bearer?
Chelsea went through?
No, I've said one team went out, Tottenham went out.
Well, we'll see what happened. Liverpool, honestly, I'm not thinking about... we have the pressure about defending the UK in Europe, so this area when teams in the past go, you know, in the 2 or 3 or 4 teams in the quarterfinal, semi-final, same country, and say, no, that is the best league in the world. So every league is special. So this league is really good, like it was in Spain, like it's in Italy, it's in Germany, and everyone has his own things. And because this competition, like FA Cup, like this competition, 1 game, 2 games, many things are involved, like a way something with the players itself, the managers of the club itself cannot control. It ain't big fun to make a theories about. It depends on the result. You are who you are. So I don't think so.
Whenever you come in here for games like this, people talk about Man City have not won it. Clearly, you've won it. Is it still a special competition for you? Is it a different feeling, or is it just, for someone in your position, just another game on a Wednesday and then you...
No, absolutely. It's a lovely competition, so nice competition. So playing the teams in another part of Europe and away from the, not routine, but, you know, the same teams, same stadiums, same clubs here in England. Of course, it's a special competition. Of course, it's so nice to be there, to be in Europe and show our club all around Europe. It's so nice. Yeah, definitely it is. I like it.
Pep, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we talked about Leipzig, you said people forget there is another team, they have quality, they can dream. Is it in a way a burden that you have to carry, that people think that City will always win 3-0, 4-0, even with against the third place in Bundesliga?
Yeah, but it's the same with many theories about this institution, this club. We cannot control it. So in Paris, it's nice when you are in the start of the season Premier League and we are the main candidates, and every time we never won this competition, every time we are the main favorites to win this competition. So something good we have done in the past. Otherwise, the people cannot consider it. But the reality always speaks for itself. The reality is on the pitch, 95 minutes. And do your best against teams like... because I'm in Leipzig, and I said when it's a draw, when I took a look a little bit, even before the first leg, I said, oh, I think it's a really, really good team. But if I talk about any team in England in Champions League, or Napoli, or Milan, or... Real Madrid, or the teams are there, said they are good too. So every team in these stages, they have, you know, a lot of qualities, many strengths, and have to tomorrow in front of our people try to impose our game. What do you have to do and bring the game? You have to win the game. So it's easy. It's not how many goals you have to score or how to do it. It's just win the game, and that is what you have to do.
Hi, Pep. You've spoken to us a lot over the last few years about the importance of your role winning trophies. How important is it for you to go into the international break in a week or so's time still in the hunt for 3 trophies this year?
Really important. It is.
And what about...
Not just for will be a bad international break for the guys who don't go to the national teams, for the fact to be alive, you know, for the last 2 months of the season, 2 months and a half, be alive. So as much you can extend this chance to be there in the competitions, to have the pleasure to still in Europe or in the Premier League to try to be close to Arsenal, so it will be good.
And we see you put so much effort and passion into creating ways of your team playing and trying to produce these fantastic teams, but how much of a drive and a motivation is it for you to still win trophies? How much is that the motivation, as opposed to perhaps building great teams that we've seen before.
That's why we're here. I didn't know any team, any manager, any player play a competition that try to don't win. So I didn't meet once. So everyone's didn't meet once. Everyone's won it. There's not an exception here.
Hi Pep. This weekend you spoke about Erling's ability to always reset after a chance missed. You've been a player yourself. How hard is it? How impressed are you with that specific mental quality? And compared to the big players you've managed, how does he rate? Have you seen anyone who has the same kind of ability to do that?
I saw a lot, yeah. A lot. In Barcelona was many. In Bayern Munich as well, so a lot. Otherwise we don't win titles. Just one player had this mentality, and the other ones, you have the mentality to score a goal. Sometimes you're the press and miss a goal. This is not the case, but for the holding midfielder, for the defenders, like, I make a mistake, it doesn't matter. I go to defend, good action, the next one, keeper. If I make a mistake, we concede a goal, and immediately is there. You don't have a lot of them, otherwise we don't have chance. It is the most important factor as a winning team, to be stable all the time during 95 minutes. The more going to suffer. There will be minutes that they are not good. How you behave in that moment, that is the key.
We've seen him in recent games, for example, against Newcastle, his build-up play becoming better. How do you think he's evolving when it comes to the all-round Erling?
In our build-up.
Yeah, in the all-round, the stuff that's not just scoring goals.
Yeah, it's important. So I don't like one player just to be in the box to score goals. Of course, it's so important. It's the main thing. It's not what we need of him. But apart of that, when we are away from the opponent box and he cannot score a goal, we need him to be involved in be active in not just we have to take a look at him. He has to be involved in what we are doing, and this we can improve.
But do you think he's improved much since he came?
Yeah? A little bit, yeah. He can improve better.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Pep. We've just been speaking to Kevin before you came in. He's a player who's played a consistently high level for you in your 7 years here, set really high standards for himself. How do you rate his form so far this season?
It was a difficult season, I would say, for all of us, me included, for the World Cup, for many things, for do it. So I would say the same. I'm not going to discover Kevin. Kevin has the ability to do it. So what I would expect many times to him, to go to the easy principles, do it well. He has an incredible ability to make an assist, to score goals, and see passes like anyone else. But always I believe they will increase and will get better when the simple things that don't lose the ball, the mobility, that incredible capacity to be active in the movement, the simple things do it again better and better. When this is going to happen, the rest will come along. I would not like to have the feeling that it's like Erling. I don't want to just score goals and the rest I don't care. So he will score when we'll be involved in the game. In our game we'll be involved. It means you are inside of the game, the ball is come, you're going to put in the net. The Kevin is the same. When the sympathy you do perfectly, you are in the right moment, move outside, inside. When you have to attack the channels or whatever you do, whatever you feel, in that moment, the actions to create incredible passes that only him can find him, it will be easier. It will be better.
Hi Pep, obviously the first leg was very tight. Leipzig played here last year, they lost 6-3. It was a lot more end-to-end. What kind of game are you expecting?
Different managed long time ago. So I don't pay any attention about what happened there. So the first half we were better, the second half they were better. We saw the game, we tried to figure out what we're going to do and try to adjust a few things that maybe can help us to have more control and play a little bit better.
Is tomorrow night about you getting as much control as possible rather than letting it be end-to-end?
Always I believe the transition games always is a coin, can go in your favor, but it's a knockout game, and maybe the game we need to break more the game, maybe don't. We'll see. At the end, the game will dictate a little bit what you have to do. We'll see.
Hi, Pep, Sky Italia. I was really impressed about what you said before the first leg. Nothing will be enough. My first thought was about Messi. Before the World Cup, everyone saying, lots of people saying, he must win to complete his career. And for me, it was crazy. So you really think that the balance of your huge work here for the public opinion, it's only about winning this cup or not? Because after the World Cup, people were still saying Maradona is better than Messi, for example. So you think for the public opinion, everything is about this cup?
Yes.
Simply yes.
Yes.
And why? It's strange, I think, because there's lots of work in these years.
I have a true public opinion. That doesn't mean that we change it. I agree with that, but absolutely will be judged for that competition. Yeah, definitely. Because since the day one I arrived here in the first game in Champions League, they asked me when just arrived, landed here, sitting for the first time, you are here to win the Champions League. I said, what? So I was manager for Real Madrid, that this is not going to happen, but I could understand, but here, I don't know, but I accept it. So as much you go through, it's not going to change that, yeah, definitely.
You asked one in English, shall we take one or two in German? No? Just down there,
Hi Pep, good day. Christoph Nkunku and Xaver Schlager will miss the game. How will that affect the game of the opponent tomorrow? And
Nkunku and, sorry?
Nkunku and Schlager, central midfield.
Yeah.
How will that, in your opinion, affect the game of Leipzig? And what kind of game do you expect starting at 0?
I think they are so aggressive in the build-up and in the high pressing. They have an incredible build-up with the both central defender, use the keeper. They play 8 players inside and 2 incredible wide fullbacks. Like it's difficult when you close inside, they put outside with the fullbacks and they drop you. When you defend outside to don't arrive to the fullbacks, they have an extra 2 or 3 more players inside. That's why it's so difficult to control them. You have to be in the right tempo, in the right moment to do the good pressing, otherwise it will be so difficult. Of course, Nkunku is exceptional players, but I think they leave this season without him, and they have done it so far really well. So, of course, I expect a speed recovery again for him. And try to, to find our spaces and our places to, in our quality and our players to punish them. So hopefully we had defend because they are better, not because we have this mentality to defend. I think it's not going to happen. We go there, we have to win the game, and to win the game we have to try it. And I think it will be a good game because they have a fantastic team. So I admire a lot Leipzig, what they have done. When I was in Munich, it was in the 2nd division, so I could not face them. But since then, what I've done, I've seen so many years, it's really good. It's a stable club, and they do really good things. So yeah, I'm a big fan of what they do.
Kevin, how do you feel looking ahead to this game? And obviously, it's another chance to win the Champions League, which clearly City have not done. What's your feelings ahead of this game?
Well, it's going to be a tough game. I think Leipzig is a really good team. I played them last year. Obviously, I wasn't there in the first game, but I saw them, and they're doing really well. They have a high energy game, and it's going to be really tough. But if you want to win the Champions League, you need to beat the best teams in Europe. And every year we've been basically close, quarter-final most of the time, semis or final. Just not done the end bit yet. So we're going to try and do the same again like we try every year. And hopefully we can get a good result tomorrow, and then we'll see.
What's your general view of the form of the team? Because results-wise, you seem to be getting some kind of consistency that you've not had for the rest of the season.
I think it's been fine this year. I think the league has changed a bit. I feel like the lower teams in the classement, they are able to spend more money and buy more quality players. So I feel like all 20 teams have so much quality. So I think the level of difficulty of beating all these teams is getting tougher and tougher. But I think in the end, we are second in the league, we in 3 competitions. So I think basically in comparison with a lot of years, I feel not really different. But then, yeah, obviously sometimes there's games that you should have won, and then other games maybe we got a win where we shouldn't have won. So it depends. But I feel it's quite similar in the end.
Hi, Kevin. You've played in some fantastic Manchester City teams. Is this the best?
I don't know. How can I compare a team of 7 years ago with this team? You know, in one way, I've just been lucky to play with all of them. You know, it's obviously a little different because there's different players. But you know, how can I compare the season where we get 100 points with winning the 4 domestic titles? I just can't. Like, it makes no sense. I'm very happy and lucky that I've been there and that I've been able to join in and do this stuff, and hopefully we can do the same with this team, and yeah, we'll see.
If you do manage to win the Champions League, will that be the thing that makes this team the best? Because that's the one major trophy as a group you're yet to win.
No, I don't see it that way, because if you just win the Champions League and don't win anything else, then obviously you could call the best in Europe, but I just don't know, you know, what are the criteria of being the best team in the league. You know, I think everybody has his own opinion on it, and I'm fine. You know, like I said, we want to be the best possible every other year, and you know, in 8 years it's been pretty great.
Hi Kevin, there's been a lot of talk lately about the team maybe not using Erling's runs as much as you did in the start of the season, and Pep has also said that you should maybe find him more often. Do you agree, and do you think it's tactical from you? Is it because of the opposition adjusting? Is it because of his runs? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything, but I don't feel like it's more different than in the beginning. I would say people are maybe more anticipating to his runs as other teams, but I feel there's always a first part of the season and a second part. I feel in the second part there's a lot more going on. Teams are more well organized. They play for more also from both sides of the table, so I feel people are more prepared in every sense in the way, and maybe he was also a little bit more prolific when he got the chances. But I don't think we need to complain about the output of Erling in any way. So I think he's fine. You know, I think if we see the Crystal Palace game, he had maybe 2-3 chances, could have scored 2. I don't think that there's any issue. But obviously, people are always anticipating him to score 2-3 goals, where probably his average is a goal a game. So yeah, seems fine for me.
Kevin, you were talking about sort of criteria for who should be considered the best team. Everyone's sort of got a different criteria. What's yours? How do you judge?
I don't actually judge about it, you know. I don't really think about it. It's not that I go home and think, oh, this team is good, and I compare it with other. I think can't compare any eras for me anyway. Different brand of football, different pitches, different intensity, whatever. Everything is changed. So I feel happy playing the game, and I'm also happy that I don't have to debate about these things. But it's just not what I'm really interested in. So yeah, I think it's a big talking point for a lot of people. But
obviously, you've been here a long time. You got very close in the Champions League a number of years. Is there a point where you're just sick of talking about can City win it, and you just need to get over the line just to sort of stop the noise around it?
Well, if you care about the noise, then obviously it's going to annoy people a little bit. But like I said, we've obviously not won it, but I felt we've done really well in the Champions League, and I know people base everything on only winning, but I feel like there's been a lot of circumstances also in these type of games, and I felt, for instance, the Madrid game last year, the Tottenham game, where I think we deserve to go through and we don't. You know, these are moments in games that sometimes these things happen, and you know, obviously I want to win it, but you know, I know as long as we don't, then I will come here in a press conference, I will get the same question, and I'm fine because people judge you on that. And you know, for the rest, we just try and win these games and be the best version we can be as a team and as a person, and you know, that's it.
Hi, Kevin, down here. You talked on Saturday about how you feel like an old man now in football terms. Yes. How many more years do you think we've got you for?
Well, that's not what I said. I'm an old man in this game. I'm not an old man. I'm sorry with you guys, but I feel pretty young in this area. So, you know, no offense, but you know, I know how it works, and obviously, you know, when people talk about you, and you know, when you're 18, 19, you notice these things a lot more, and you know where it comes from, and you know, I know when people sometimes talk about form or how people play, you know, it's give and take, and you know, I know how to manage. That's how I said it. I don't know how long I want to play. You know, as long as I'm having fun, I will play football. But obviously, like everybody, there will be a day where it will end. But that's not something that I'm not able to think about that yet. So that's good.
And if you don't win this competition, how much of a regret would that be?
Not really. You know, I don't regret the things that I do. I'm not that kind of person. Whatever competition I entered, I tried to win it, and you lose way more than you won. But luckily enough, I've been able to win also a lot. So in one way, I'm really fortunate.
Kevin, sorry. Back to Haaland, and you can correct if I'm wrong, but this team seems to be built to protect the ball, to protect the possession. In a way, is it kind of counterintuitive to risk the possession, to enjoy the most of his runs in the middle of the process, the build-up system?
Well, yes and no, but sometimes it's also good to have different options, you know. I think where maybe in the last 2 years people would say, oh, there's not that presence in the box, there's not enough deep runs, and now people are saying the opposite because, you know, it works in different ways. I feel like in the beginning of the season when everything was going in and we were winning a lot of games, there was nothing going wrong, and then obviously when you lose a few points, it's different. And you know, like I said before, I don't feel there's any issue. I've not heard anything going out of the team or Erling or anybody else. I know people outside will judge on how we play, and maybe we sometimes play a better brand of football in some games, or other years that happens. But you know, in other games, Crystal Palace at home, for instance, you know, he won us the game. So, you know, like I said, I think the team is really happy with him. I think he's really happy playing with us. So I think we're fine.
Kevin, you're obviously technically good enough to play any position. Would you see yourself playing more of a sort of holding midfield role as you've got a little bit older? I can use that word again. You know like a Fernandinho. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not going to be fully the same. You know, I think when I think it was 17, 18, I've played more holding with Pep for a couple of years, and then with the national team, I basically played 5 years of a holding midfielder because we played with a 5. So I was one of the two mostly with Axel. So I have no idea. You know, people say when you get older you go lower. With me, it's the opposite. So you know, I've been low, been up, been left, been right. I feel like I change less position now because that's the coach's decision. But you know, whatever will come, I will try and do the job. But I will never be a Fernandinho. I can't be. We're not the same person. He's unbelievable number 6, and you know, I just do what I do.
Guys, we'll go last two just because the manager's due as well. We'll go James in English and then German media here. Yeah? Kevin, just following on Jamie's question and Martin's question, whatever your position ends up being, whether it's the same or it changes, you've operated at such a high level for so long. Are you a sort of player who will, once that maybe, if there's any change to that, you're like, no, I'm done, or you just, is your desire to play as long as humanly possible, regardless of what happens?
It's a pretty good question, to be honest. I would say I'm a perfectionist, so whatever I do, football, normal life, I will always want it to be 100%. So in that regard, if the time would come, that's something that I want to think of, should think of, but it's not necessarily, I would say, is important now. But if I think about it at this particular time, I would like to stay as high as possible, the longest as possible. But yeah, that's not only my decision. So yeah, there's something to think about, obviously. But give me a little bit.
Last question, please, Gareth.
Hi, Kevin. Schönen guten Tag. You've played in Germany for Wolfsburg, so you know the Bundesliga. How would you define the opponent you're going to face tomorrow? And how high is the risk to underestimate Leipzig, maybe?
Well, the risk to underestimate, I don't think is that big, because I think we've played them now 3 times in the last two years already, and I think we already know what kind of team it is. It's a high energy, high quality, intensive team, and they have that Red Bull DNA where they play a lot of players in the middle. They're very aggressive. They know how to make it a tough game, and I think they have a lot of quality. I've played against them with Wolfsburg when they were in second division in the cup, I think, and it's pretty similar. That I think they had Kimmich and Paulsen still there. So the quality has always been there. Obviously, I've been away for a long time, but they took a step from 8 years ago, going from second division to playing top 4 and Champions League all the time. So you can't do this without having so much quality. So I'm very aware of what threats they have, but hopefully we will manage that tomorrow.